They chose to put it there.
I don't think they chose to put it there. I think it was a side effect of the way the system was designed, and it was hard to patch. And the reason I think this is because they go to great lengths to stop the plugins from actually injecting into the page directly. Like when you have a content script, it very intentionally does not go into the page's namespace, and they have a whole sandbox for that is isolated, that required work to build. And so it doesn't make sense why they would intentionally then put a giant hole that says, well, we did all this work to build a sandbox, but you can just ignore it.
I don't know. I think it's more like we're going to build a sandbox so you don't unintentionally break it, and then if you choose to break it, you can. But yeah, I think wallets should definitely migrate away from using like permissions on pages. Like that's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I think we agree on that part. Like if that was if what you were saying is the case, and they're trying to make it, if you can't accidentally break it, then why did they make it so hard to inject? Like why
They
not
didn't.
just
I thought it was literally just like a one-line JavaScript thing.
I mean, they could have just put it like a second line in the manifest, though. You've got the manifest item for content script. You could have just had another line item for dangerous content script or something. Like, and that would have been significantly easier for everybody, I think, involved. Rather than, because the way it works right now is you inject a script tag, which happens to execute in the context of the page rather than the context of the extension's view of the page. Because everything that's in the DOM executes within that context. And that it really feels to me like an accident. I mean, anyways, we can start with the actual meeting.
Sure. So, welcome everybody to All Wallet Devs number 5. We have 2 things on the agenda, 2 official things anyways. So I wanted to talk to wallet devs about how much appetite there would be for the wallet, a shared testing framework for wallets. We had talked about it during some of the earlier meetings, and I'd love to hear if there's any interest in perhaps funding a dev to work on it, because I have someone in mind.
You have a person and money, or you just have the person?
I have a person and a little bit of money, and I'm wondering if wallets would be able to contribute as well. I'm thinking like maybe like a short, like couple month term, build a prototype and maybe some initial tests, and see where it goes from there.
I think it'd be useful, but most useful for dApp developers, because right now integrating with multiple wallets is hard because they all have little idiosyncrasies, and it is not clear where those idiosyncrasies lie. And having a clear testing framework lets you know this is the set of things that all wallets comply with, or at least you can see which wallet. It's kind of like when you go to MDN and you see the browser compatibility list, or caniuse.com or whatever it is.
So you're suggesting it'd be better to get funding from dApps than from wallets? Or at least more incentive aligned?
Potentially more incentive aligned. Like I feel like new wallets are incentive aligned to participate in the testing, so they can know, do I match the thing that everybody else matches? So I'm most likely to work with things that dApps work with. I think it'll be very difficult to get existing market leaders involved because there's really no incentive for them. In fact, there's counter incentive for them, I think.
No, that makes sense. I'll see what I can find from dApp developers then.
I like the idea.
Oh yeah, and I think it's totally possible. Like I was thinking of gluing together like Ganache with like a thin server and writing like your tests in TypeScript, and maybe gluing in some kind of like Selenium or WebDriver thing to be able to click on buttons, and I think that'll cover most wallets. All right, well, that's it for that. I guess, is there anything any wallet wants to demo? Any new progress on 4337 or BLS or anything like that?
Oh, hi. Hey guys, this is my first time to attend Oracle Dev meeting or Wallet Dev meeting. Yeah, this is Jiajun from Soul Wallet. just won the best account abstraction prize from EF during the ETH Global ETH Bogota.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so I guess for the next All Wallet Dev meeting, all of our developer will join and participate. Yeah, so just come here to say hi.
Oh, hey, and welcome. Most
Yeah.
things happen asynchronously in the text chat, and we kind of just hang out here once a month. So yeah.
Yeah, sure. All of our demo is in our Twitter page, so feel free to check that out. I will send that in the general channel.
Sure. Unless you want to demo it, like share your screen and show us, because you could do that too.
Oh, I guess it's under testnet. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's ready or not, but I will send the recording video to the general channel also.
Great. Thanks.
Welcome, Soul Wallet. We can demo if someone else just shared their screen. We can let them do. But we also can demo our wallet, Candid Wallet. We're building an ERC-437 mobile wallet, and I can spin up a demo on a test network and show you what we have been working on and our progress.
That'd be awesome.
Let me share my screen. So, by the way, I'm joined in this call with Nerox and Sharif. They're both in Candid Wallet and they've been building with me. Can you see the emulator?
Yes.
Okay. So what you're seeing here is a already deployed wallet. I'll show you a few transactions that we built.
So this is a smart contract wallet running on a testnet?
This is a smart contract wallet running on a testnet, Goerli, and it's ERC-437 compatible. What's special about it? It's that we used Gnosis Safe as our base wallet contract. So anytime a user creates a Candid wallet, they have a single owner Gnosis Safe, ERC-437 compatible. The features I can show you is let's start with the send. So I have right now, I don't have any Ether or Uni, but I do have this test token called Candid test token. I can just go ahead and use send it to someone. So I'll send it to Andrew. Look up his ENS, and I'll send Candid test token. I'll send him a bit. So notice one thing, I don't need any Ether to pay for this transaction. I can only use the same token to just like execute the transaction and submit it. So let's see if the transaction is going to execute.
So this is using like a relayer in the background that swaps the tokens, or?
Yes. So the relayer is the paymaster. This is the smart contract that is deployed. It takes Candid token as it is, and it does swap it with Ether. So it's up to the paymaster to manage its inventory. It could have a little bit of Ether and a little bit of Candid test token, and then just like accepts the amount of gas. What you just saw here actually is that the user didn't pay for transaction fees. I did in fact select to pay for Candid test tokens, but right now we're actually sponsoring all transaction fees. So the user didn't pay for any fees right now. It's the paymaster who sponsored it. And we can go to see on the entry point contract that's the general entry point contract on Goerli if the transaction went through it. And you can see here, this is my transfer transaction. it did send indeed 0.001 candidate test token to that contract address. I can also show you the swap, but let's see. I'll need a little bit of, I don't think there's liquidity for this candidate test token. So I'll let Andrew send me some Ether and or some Uni, and I can swap them here. The cool thing about swapping with a smart contract wallet is that you can batch multiple transactions together. So if I were to swap Uni to Ether, the user just need to submit it and sign it once. And what's happening is that we're approving only the amount of Uni that they want to swap, and depositing it into the Uniswap contract in a single transaction. So let's see if I received any from Andrew. So he just sent me 0.01 Ether. So I'm only going to show you, I guess, an Ether swap here. Let's see if I got the Uni as well. Okay, I got the Uni. So let me swap the Uni up. So right now we're fetching prices using the Uniswap SDK, and here we're sponsoring the transaction. So you see that the user is not paying any fees with our paymaster, and you just hit reviewing what you have, and it's only a single transaction that the user is approving. Let's see if it gets executed.
Is the service that you're thinking of providing aside from the wallet, do you have any other services you're looking at providing?
This mic is low.
So on Godly, it could be a little bit long because gas fluctuates a lot. But you can see here it's got submitted, and this is the transaction that is getting waited to be executed here. Yeah, and I think we just swapped some Uni to Ether, and it's just a single transaction. I can hear someone's talking. Not sure if it's. Can you mute, please?
And Ben, your mic's live. Thanks.
Yeah, Ben. Thanks. One cool thing is that we used Gnosis social recovery module as our social recovery mechanism. So a user can just they don't need to keep a seed phrase. So I can go here to security. Obviously, before I can make all these transactions, it's better that I add a guardian. So I can add anyone as a guardian. So I'm gonna go ahead and add myself. You can use any wallet as a guardian. So MetaMask or your Ledger or another candidate wallet. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a guardian here. Again, we're sponsoring this transaction in our test network because for now it doesn't cost us anything. And I just added a guardian. It's similar mechanism to the Argent wallet, and also it's the same. We use the social recovery mechanism or contract from Gnosis Safe.
So how big are the diffs on top of Gnosis Safe? Is this literally just their contract, or?
The difference, there's no real so the difference is that we use ERC 4337 and Gnosis Safe, and it's the implementation of Infinitism team on as a base wallet for Gnosis. But we can go through the contracts quickly after the demo, and I can show you the difference.
Sure, that'd be nice.
Yep. So you can see I can just added a guardian. So the wallet is actually secured. If I ever lose my phone, I can just recover it. So let's actually attempt to lose the wallet. So I'm gonna just say wallet is null here, and I refresh. So this is kind of manually losing my wallet. And you can see here, I just lost my wallet. I just need to click lost wallet, and I'll use a recovery mechanism. I have to specify which wallet. So I just need to know my public address or my ENS if I had one. So my public address was, I saved it here in my clipboard. And I'll create a new password. I just used the old one I used before. And that password is stored locally. The seed phrase is also locally, so it's a really self-custodial wallet. We never have access to the keys. A recovery request was created for this wallet in the past hour. Oh, okay. So since I already did a recovery request, we added this feature to mediate from spam attacks. If someone, if someone tries to recover a wallet multiple times, then we actually limit how many times you can recover it. I think if I want to show you the recovery mechanism, I can. So imagine if I already did execute recover, you'd go to our security center, which is this page right there. You can log in with a MetaMask. So I'll just log out here and show you. And I can connect my wallet. And then let me see if I can try again. Up and try again here. Okay, so now we just initiated a recovery request. That recovery request, so we do have a backend for that piece. We get the recovery request, and then the user needs to make sure that the emojis that they're seeing in the screen matches the emojis that that they're gonna see on the recovery page. So a guardian will go in with their MetaMask or any type of wallet, and they would type in the public address of the wallet. So I think that's the one. Yep. And once, so we know that the guardian is that person, is the MetaMask wallet, and so we can show the recovery request, and the emojis does indeed match. If there's another set of emojis, the guardian shouldn't sign this message because that would be another person trying to recover the wallet, and it wouldn't be the real owner because the emojis are communicated offline between the guardian and the owner account. So I'll go ahead and sign that message.
So let me just interrupt for a second. So one small suggestion I have to make here is instead of displaying the emojis and asking them to confirm, the person who's supposed to check the emoji should choose between a set of n random combinations, and they have to pick the correct one. And that forces them to actually verify it as opposed to just trusting that they verify it.
Okay, I think, yeah, that's a better idea. It's kind of maybe adding a set of numbers, or maybe adding 4 emojis would be better, right?
No, not adding more emojis. It's just the screen we're looking at right now. The emojis there are the ones that the recovery person is supposed to verify, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So if you just added 3 more rows and with 2 of them having incorrect sets of emojis and 1 of them having the correct set of emoji, then the recovery person has to pick the correct set of emojis that forces them to actually communicate, as opposed to just blindly clicking the sign button, and it makes for better UX or better security, anyways.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think we'll implement that. That forces them to verify the emoji sets.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks a lot for the feedback. So I'll continue signing the message since I guess we have to actually verify the emojis. And we can sign it. And so if we had multiple guardians, each guardian will go ahead and sign their part of the message, and then the last guardian will go ahead and submit the actual transaction.
So that where are these addresses being collected?
So these addresses are being collected in a backend.
Not the address, the signatures. Like you signed a thing, where's it going?
It's also in our backend.
I see. Okay. So if your backend is down, does that mean recovery can't happen, or is there a way to do it if your backend goes offline?
We can have like on-chain recovery. Our backend just makes it easy for the user to recover. But you can also recover it without the backend. It just will have to write like a little bit of documentation to do it. But it's totally possible to recover it with on-chain while interacting with our contract.
It feels like maybe I'm missing something, but it feels like this page you're looking at, Bluehost 3000, could be done almost entirely without a backend. Am I misunderstanding something? It looks like the only backend piece is that collection step. Is there more that the backend needs?
No. How can you imagine it?
I was just thinking that like there's so you can still use the backend as like an optimistic thing, and where so when the user clicks to sign MetaMask, it then gets sent to the backend. But then that screen has, let's say it's a one of two, right? So they need to collect two of them. The user right on that screen has two options. One, wait for a second signer to be collected, or submit their signature on chain. So that way the next person can then, so there's no need for coordination. Like the two social recovery participants can both sign independently, submit their signatures on chain without, and the recovery would happen after the second one showed up. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think.
Yeah. Can I help in this matter?
Yeah. Go
It
ahead.
actually. Yeah. It actually our recovery module it can do both. Like we can like this website with the back end. Everyone can just sign without submitting an actual transaction, and then submit one transaction to recover to create the full recovery.
Yep.
Or someone can interact with each single guardian can interact with the contract independently and add his recovery request, and then it can be done, and then the last one can submit the recovery transaction. So yeah, you are absolutely right. It's better to do it without a backend. Yeah, but we just thought that this is maybe easier. And yeah, we can also try to make another web app without a backend.
Yeah, I think having the backend is definitely useful, and when the backend is up and available, it simplifies things, and I agree with that, and it lowers cost because you only need the one
Exactly, yeah.
transaction. My thinking is if this page you're looking at was IPFS hosted, then the entire thing could be done, even if your development team all got disappeared for whatever reason, or censoring or something like that. And that would, at least for me, it would give much more confidence that I don't need you guys to be online, and I can still use the UI. I can still do all the simple things. The only difference would be is that I would have to pay for each signature to be submitted on chain instead of bundling them. And
Exactly, yeah.
and so having it all, I think it could all be in one UI. Still, you could still have the backend like you have. It's just if the backend is unavailable, then fall back to submit. Or if the backend, or maybe there's two buttons. One is wait for other signers, and the other one thing there's a button for submit on chain or something. So that way, maybe the backend is up, but it's not behaving properly or something like that. Like it's not actually aggregating. So it feels like a very small change that would give a lot more confidence.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. We can, like you said, we can implement it on the same front end. One case is that with a backend, it would let you save a little bit of fees because only one single transaction can be submitted. And the other case, like you said, is each guardian can like submit their own transaction, and we don't need the backend for that.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
If you didn't consider yet how to aggregate those signatures, I'm working on a proposal to kind of standardizing it. We can look into it. It's
Cool. Is that it for the for this demo?
I think Zinben, I think, was saying something. Did you not hear him?
Who was? I'm not sure who
Okay.
talked. That was
Yeah, I was talking.
Yeah, I muted
Okay, that's fine.
Victor.
Yeah, can I be heard? Yeah.
I think
So
he can
I was.
unmute himself. Let me check.
I'm unmuted myself, but can you hear me?
yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, sorry, I had to mute you earlier.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't know that my mic was live. So yeah, if you haven't decided how to a specific way to determine the implementation for aggregating signature from offline, I am proposing an endorsement scheme that you can use that as a way to aggregate
Hi,
signatures.
thank you for the presentation. I just have a question. Like, how would you say it
Victor.
would be like a big
Hey,
difference,
Rodrigo.
or
Victor
Well,
Zinben, who
yeah.
you probably have muted, was talking, and you just started talking over.
Yeah. So I just want to point out there is a
Oh, yeah, sorry.
5453 endorsement proposal that you can look into if you have not decided how to like the specific way to implement the aggregating signatures on
Okay.
chain.
Okay, happy to talk. Feel free to share. Please share the proposal in the chat,
Will
and
do.
then we'll take a look. Someone else talked. Had a question?
Yeah. What I was going to
Yeah.
ask you is that what would you say is like the biggest difference or uniqueness of your wallet versus something like Argent?
Yeah, that's a good question. So Argent is a smart contract wallet that does offer all these features, except that you do need to rely on all the services that Argent offer. Like they do have their own like between quotes relayer, which is the equivalent of Paymaster that we're using. And without their relayer, you cannot like execute the features that that comes in as in like paying transaction fees with another token. The whole point of ERC 437 is to make things as much decentralized as possible. So the paymaster, it doesn't have to be our paymaster that gets like used. You can use any other paymaster service through our wallet. Relaying the transaction and submitting them, because it's Argent does have their own like between quote like bundler. This is the case. They take the transaction and submit them. Without that relayer, your transaction cannot be executed with Argent. So really, without an Argent company, you cannot use your wallet. You can retrieve your tokens and then migrate elsewhere, but your Argent wallet really cannot focus. In case of a Candid wallet, with an ERC 4337, that bundler, right now we're running a private bundler, but in the future, there should be a mempool of bundlers. Anyone can pick up your transaction and submit them to the actual mempool or the validator sequencer to process it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
I also had a question. Thank you for the demo. It's very cool. So I noticed that you had email recovery as one of the options. Could you just explain how that is supposed to work?
Yeah. So to finish the demo, we just like recovered the wallet. So you can see here, like I got access back to my wallet without the private key. I can remove my guardian here if I want to. The owner of the wallet always like have access to kick guardians if they want. And you'll see here that you'll be able to add like an email. So that email is an option that we added in. You can think of it as an institutional guardian. So you can think of, okay, if you wanna, you have the option to use a company as your guardian, and they will use a type of authentication system, for example, email and SMS, or I don't know, a video call with you, and they can be your guardian. Right now, we're just like demoing, making a demo with an email recovery. We use Magic Link, which is a service that offers authentication. It's very centralized, so if Magic Link disappears, your guardian also disappears. Just to keep in mind. But that's just to showcase, like you can have an institution as a guardian. We hope in the future to offer this type of recovery with multiple two-factor authentication with an email and SMS, and you can select a company as candidate, for example, as one of your guards, which is totally optional as well.
So it's basically the same thing as the family and friends recovery. Like you send a message using a key, and the key's added to your smart contract wallet as like a recovery person.
Exactly, it's exactly the same way.
Can you mix institution and friends and family?
You can mix institution, family, and friends. You can add as many guardians as you want. You can have a family and friends is basically a wallet, any wallet, any type of wallet. You can have your ledger as a friend of yours as well. When we will have a threshold for how many guardians you need to recover. So you can have 10 guardians, and maybe 50% of them, if they sign the transaction, then they can recover your wallet.
One thing.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, to answer the question. I think one thing to keep in mind, and I'm very, very happy with what you guys have shown here. One thing to keep in mind is figuring out how to make sure users are selecting an appropriate guardian set. I think this is one of the hardest problems with post-recovery wallets, is that your average user is going to be very bad at choosing the right number of guardians and choosing both M and N and who those people are, right? And so somehow making sure it's very clear to the user that, and again, this is hard, I don't have a solution for you, just keep in mind, make it very clear to the user that if they put down their, their girlfriend and their sister or whatever as their guardians, and it's a one of two, that's something that I can imagine people doing, and that is very insecure. You're basically saying these two people have 100% access to all of my money, and I think people aren't going to realize that on their own.
I think you're right, and it would be our job in the front end to showcase that. We haven't really showed it here in the demo you're seeing, but I can imagine really clarifying that the guardian you select, we will have certain opinionated, I guess, advice saying that it's better to have at minimum 3 guardians. One would be family and friends. They shouldn't know each other. That would be even better. That way they wouldn't coordinate against a wallet owner. You would have, we can recommend, if right now we're not going to recommend an institution, but if we have a solid institution that can offer a guardian, they can recommend 1 guardian, at least 1 family and friends. And if they do have a ledger, then we can recommend a hardware wallet as their third option.
By the way, I think Arjun, the way Arjun do that is really good. Compared to Michael's comments on maybe people don't have enough friends, or when adding new guardians is dangerous. Arjun so offer a default guardians themselves. So for most of the normal user, it's a much better experience and safer.
Yes, I do like the Arjun way as well. They do it 2 ways. They have an off-chain recovery. Basically, they don't add themselves as a guardian. They just add themselves in a way that they add your private key encrypted in your iCloud, and they have one part of the private key, I think, also encrypted in their server. And that's how they do off-chain recovery. It's kind of the most secure way to do it, off-chain. But I think with a guardian system and a smart contract way, it's much better. It does cost a little bit more than off-chain, but it's more secure. And since we're going to be focusing on layer 2, we won't have the problem of gas fees like Arjun did, because they're deployed mainly on mainnet. they're like Vault, but they're working on like ZK Sync and StarkNet right now. So
I've been trying to pitch to Gnosis for a while to add this, and since you guys forked Gnosis, I'm now going to pitch to you to try to add it, which is time-based social recovery. So when you go through that social recovery process, it starts a countdown timer that the user can configure. It might be a day, might be a week, might be a month, might be a year. And the recovery doesn't complete until that timer has elapsed. And any time while that timer is running, the owner of the wallet can cancel the recovery. This makes it so if someone tries to recover your wallet while you still have access to the wallet, then you can just override it. And this makes it so you can actually do one of n fairly securely, because the one only gains the ability to recover if you lose your wallet. So if you say just set my wife as my recovery, and she tries to start recovery, or maybe she gets compromised and the attacker tries to recover my wallet, as long as I show up within a week or a month or whatever, I can cancel. But if I'm dead, then she can successfully recover all my funds even by herself. And so, yes, please add that. I've been trying to get most of them to add this for a long time, and they haven't. So now I'm going to push on you guys.
okay, I think that's a good idea. We did think about like what happens when a person like passes away or something. But I think it's a good idea, and we'll definitely look at it. Since we have the good thing about the wallet that we built, like with Gnosis Safe, is that it does come with modules, and the modules we can have as we go on with time. We can like implement modules. Obviously, the user have to approve a module before they can interact with it, and we can have like all different applications, like setting like a daily limits, for example, on a contract, similar to what you do as a regular bank account. You can have like weekly limits or daily limits. You can have all different kind of modules. The same modules that you can build on Gnosis Safe, you can build it on Candid.
Micah, could you clarify something for me? What's stopping? Like, imagine if your wallet was stolen instead of just lost, right? Then the person who stole it and has access to your signing key, right? Then they can like basically just stop you from recovering it. No.
Sure. I mean, someone has access to your private key, they can just drain your account. So you're at that point, if an attacker gets access to your signing key, then there's basically nothing you can do, with the exception of like if you have self-imposed limits of some kind, that could potentially stop it. But general assumption here is that I'm operating under is that there's many situations where you lose access to your signing key, either because someone stole your phone, but they don't have the ability to unlock your phone, or because you lost your phone or whatever. And in those situations, having that time delay is very valuable. And in a situation where the attacker actually has full access to your phone, then you're already lost, and doesn't matter how much social recovery you have, it's game over. I will admit there is one little edge case where if an attacker steals your phone and they somehow have access to unlock it, but they have not yet unlocked it. So like hypothetical example of this is like a kidnapping scenario where they kidnap you and they're transporting you to some undisclosed location where they can hit you with wrenches until you unlock your phone. Your social recovery could maybe kick in if there's no time delay, but if there was a time delay, your social recovery cannot kick in there. And so that feels like an edge case that probably isn't the right one to optimize for, which is why I kind of ignore it.
Thanks.
Yeah, we also assume in general, like most of the time, like most of the possibilities of losing a seed phrase, like the user usually wouldn't like give out his phone with his password out. We go ahead and assume that the probability of someone losing their phone or like being stolen with their password is low, and that's how we go ahead and design their recovery system.
Also, the application doesn't allow the user to see his signer private key. It should be stored. The app is storing this private key in a secure way, and even the user himself, he doesn't have access. Like he can't read his private key for now. stored in the application itself in his phone.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. I don't think users should actually have access to their own keys. They've shown repeatedly that they don't do good things with them.
Yeah. If we have, so maybe I'll let other people like speak if they want. But if you guys are interested, we can show you a bit like our contracts and the bundle that we build. The wallet's going to be completely open source and forkable. We just need to clean up things a bit, and then we'll push everything. But we can show you on a screen share right now if you're interested in a quick walkthrough. And
No objections from me.
Real quick,
Sounds
do you
good.
do you have a website or anything? Like if I want
Uh,
to talk to someone else about this?
Yeah, it's candidwallet.com.
Hang on, it is very small. Can you paste that in the chat?
Yeah.
My screen is small at the moment. Sorry. If
General,
you
right?
hover over the voice channel, there's a little chat icon pops up.
Oh.
Yeah, hover over the word general, and then the chat on the right. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let me not spam the rest of people. So I just want to make sure like no one wants to like talk or say something from their side before like we take over and show you.
Ligi, do you have any updates from the Eura working group? That's probably the only other thing. I will take that as a no.
Okay, so so Sharif wanted to present, but he doesn't have their screens working, screen share. So I'll be screen my share, and Sharif is going to be talking and walking through. So Sharif, let me know which report.
Yes, hello everyone. Yeah, if you can go to Candid Wallet Contracts.
Yep.
Yeah, and go to the separate recovery
Sure,
module. Yeah, we are mainly using the Genesis module by ETH Infinitesimal to add the capability for Genesis Wallet to interact with an entry point, and we have added a social recovery module with some modifications. The same with Genesis Wallet with some modification. Also, have done our own Paymaster contract, also based on the ETH Infinitesimal contracts. We've made extensive testing, so that it shows all the steps in order to deploy the contracts, in order to interact with the contracts. Yeah, this is from the contract side. Also, we have the contracts are using Brownie for testing and deployment. Also, we have another repo for the bundler. If you can, yeah, if you go to the bundler, we are using Python and Django for the bundler. Yeah, so yeah, the bundler it can receive operations from the application, and it can process it, can bundle it, and it can send it to the entry point. Yeah, and you have seen a live demonstration with the app working with the bundler. Also have a Paymaster service in the bundler that can receive operations, and it can decide if it wants to sign, if it wants to sponsor this transaction or not. It can take a decision. Yeah, this is it. This is our bundler and contracts.
So we'll be publishing everything. So you'll be maybe taking a closer look in details. But happy to I guess we're happy to answer any questions.
you have the ability to easily show just like a diff of your contracts versus Gnosis contract? Or is that
Yeah, we are actually using exactly we are Genesis contract is not even in the is in our wallet because we are using a proxy, okay, and the proxy just we just pass the address of the of the singleton Genesis contract, so we don't even have the wallet code in our repo. We are just having the proxy. We just have the proxy. So our our implementation it's mainly based in the module added to the Genesis wallet. So if you can show them the module. Yeah, there is multiple parts. There is a fallback manager. There is the module manager. All these contracts, when added to Genesis wallet, it adds support for the entry point. And if you can go to testing, Mark. Yeah, you can go to test.
So all your modifications are implemented as like you subclass Genesis and then do a little bit of wrapping, and that's it.
Yeah, mainly.
That's cool.
Yeah, mainly. Yeah, mainly. Many modules. Yes, yes, yes. And you have testing. If you go to test. No, outer test. Yeah, this one. Genesis wallet. There is like detailed. This is the detailed way. So how we can deploy the wallets, deploy the proxy, how we can add the modules, how you can create recovery, the recovery operation. Also, you have another test with the bundler that can work with the bundler. If you run the bundler service and run the test, it it works with the bundler with the same contracts. Yeah, also the paymaster extensive testing for each step. Yeah, this is it.
Yeah, so it's mostly like we haven't modified the Genosis. That was one of our goals. It's not to modify at all or even to fork Gnosis. It's actually to use it and wrap it around so we can use it and modify our modules. So any modules that we use, we can build our own.
It's very wise given the huge amount of money that Gnosis has spent on audits.
Yep, exactly. Like we said, we're gonna be pushing everything since we're gonna be open source as well. So feel free to fork our code and mess around with it. We just need to clean up things a bit, and hopefully we're gonna be publishing the app next week on Android and iOS. It's a Flutter app, and we hope to be accepted by Apple and Android if there's no mistakes. We have a few fixes to do before we publish it. We're gonna deploy on Goerli, so we'll be welcome any feedback as you use the wallet. We wanna make sure to test it from a user perspective. Read the contracts. Tell us if there's anything that you think can be improved. Before we can actually make our deployment on mainnet, we're going to be aiming to deploy on Optimism.
You would not plan. You said mainnet and Optimism, or just Optimism?
Yes, sorry, Optimism mainnet. So just Optimism.
Is there a reason that you're not deploying on Ethereum mainnet?
We want to start with Optimism. With the way we're gonna go with deploying on multiple chains is gonna be really gradually. First, we're gonna it's gonna be gradually. There's no reason why we wouldn't deploy on mainnet, but we just wanna do it one by one. Any questions or other feedback we can take? I think that was very useful, the feedback that you've given us, all of you.
I think James has a question in chat about what software license you're going to use.
Which license? I think Sharif knows which license. So far, we use the contracts for GPL v3. That's our GPL 3. Yep.
That's be using GPL or LGPL. Yeah.
And I think same for the client app as well. I haven't read all the questions.
That was the only one I think that hadn't been covered already.
Okay. Okay. If there's no more question, then thanks a lot for showing the demo, and we'll share once we publish the app with you, and we want to hear as much feedback from you.
I'm happy to see a wallet focusing on censorship resistance and decentralization and privacy. So it's nice. So many wallets are like Argent, where it's very centralized and very borderline custodial. So it's nice to see different. I think the only other feedback would be that if you can make the UI deployable to IPFS, I think that would be the last little thing that might be centralized if you're not careful. So if you do that, that would sort of
I think we want to plan to do that. It's just we have to concentrate our efforts since it's going to be a web app. On the IPFS, it's totally different from the mobile app client, so it does require a lot of effort. But we do plan in the future to do it. It's just like a step by step.
Sure.
All right, thanks a lot, and I'll give the mic to anyone.
I think we're pretty much at time, and I have another meeting. But thanks everybody for coming out, and yeah, hopefully we'll see you in a month.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for changing the time.